You're listening to Online Pet Health Podcasts with Dr. Megan Kelly. Continuing education for veterinarian rehabilitation therapists. Learn more at onlinepethealth.com.
Hey Vet Rehabbers, it's a Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcast with Hannah Olliff-Lee from Surrey in the UK. Now in these podcasts we learn from vet rehabbers from all around the world how they practice vet rehab. They share their challenges, their wins and losses in the hope that we can learn from their mistakes and we won't make the same ones that they did. They also share their tips and advice on how they navigate through this crazy world we live in today, and we get a glimpse into their vet rehab life. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram, so please take a screenshot of this podcast, post it on Instagram, tag me at Onlinepethealth, and let's get connected. It's great hearing from all of you and knowing you are out there joining me every week listening to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast. If you're just getting into vet rehab or you're looking for some online learning in the field, please go and check out our free limited access membership. We have some free webinars and trainings on specific vet rehab topics which we change every few months. Now in the free platform, the small animal area, we have putting neuroplasticity into practice with Amy Hesback. In the paid platform, we have 160 hours now of training available. In the free platform, we have the equine rehabilitation of horses affected with tenosynovitis with Melanie Ferreira, and in our paid platform now 95 hours of learning. The free platform hydrotherapy, the role of chronic injury on phasic and tonic muscles with Kirsty Oliver, and in our paid platform now 78 hours of learning. So you can sign up at onlinepethealth.com/free. I repeat that, onlinepethealth.com/free. So over to my chat with Hannah. Hi Hannah, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, it's lovely to meet you. I feel like such a fangirl.
Oh, me too. I when I saw you as soon as we came on, I was like, oh, I feel like I know you already because I see you in all the reels on Instagram. And I believe we're going to chat a little bit in today's podcast about social media because you're actually managing veterinary practices social media. So I'm so excited to chat to you. Before we get into that though, won't you tell our listeners how you got into the field of vet rehab?
So long story short, I grew up on a farm, so I've always been around animals, and my parents have both had horses and we breed horses, and one of my ponies ended up with tearing both his suspensory ligaments, and the vet at the time said, yeah, you've got to do box rest and then maybe field rest, and maybe he'll never be ridden again and he might always be lame and these sorts of things. And I kind of went, but surely he should be comfortable. There should be a way to ensure he's comfortable. And if he's lame, he's not comfortable. And I sort of fell into, doing some massage in the stable with him to try and make him feel more comfortable, looking at pole exercises, things like that for when he was coming back. And it just sort of snowballed from there, really.
Yeah, awesome. And I believe you have quite a few horses.
Yes. So we have 16 at home at the moment. So my mum and dad breed Welsh Cobs and Hackneys, which are Welsh Cobs not so much, but Hackneys are an endangered breed. So it's something that we're really passionate about.
So there's lots of work for you.
Oh yeah, tons. Tons. If I've not got a clinic day, I'm full at home.
So do you stay on the property with all the horses?
So I live about 10 minutes away, but my mum and dad live on the property, which is quite cool.
Okay, nice. All right, so tell us about your journey. So obviously that was where your interest came. So what happened from then?
So I did the typical teenager thing and was like, I absolutely love my horses. I don't want to do anything else for the rest of my life. Got to the end of school and went, oh no, seriously, I have to be a grown up now and decide something to do. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I worked on some yards and worked in some pubs and stuff. And then my boyfriend at the time said, why don't you become a vet nurse? Because, you love animals. And I went, yeah, cool. Sounds like a job. Let's do that. Got into vet nursing. And after I qualified as a vet nurse, I saw all the physio that was being done on orthopedic cases with dogs and all these arthritic Labradors. And, for me, coming from a farming background, I was used to fit dogs who didn't really get arthritic until they were sort of, 14 or 17. So it was a whole new thing for me. And I got really, really into weight loss and physio and how the two things are linked together. And I went, this is what I want to do. And I moved from practice to practice, trying to find someone to support me and help pay my diploma and everything. And in the end, I went, nope, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to pay for it myself and I'm going to get it done. And then 8 years later, got qualified.
Okay, so you're a qualified vet nurse, and then you went over on to do your diploma in animal physiotherapy, right?
Yeah.
So, and you've just had a baby. Well, and I say just, you've got a 16-month-old. So
Yeah.
tell us how that all happened, because I mean, I believe that you had to do exams and things while you were pregnant. And so it's been a bit of an adjustment. I know, because I've also got a 6-month-old. So I'm in that exact phase now, sort of trying to juggle everything and try and work out how to fit a little baby into my life. So yeah, tell us how that all happened and how you got through the exams and where you are now.
So I was really, really lucky. I trained with the College of Animal Physiotherapy, which is based over here. And I had an amazing mentor who I will give a shout out to. Her name's Wendy Vaughan, who just so good at teaching. Like, she taught me to do everything in a routine way and to look at everything in a routine way, so that when it becomes non-routine, you can sort of follow that path and you've got a way to work through. So actually, when I got pregnant and was doing my exams and having baby brain, I had this logistical way of going through everything and looking at everything that really helped. But of course, COVID hit at that time, which sort of slowed all my exams. And then I started going, oh, I'm on a ticking clock because I'm pregnant and I want to finish before I've had my baby and all these sorts of things. So they actually let me do my exams over Zoom. So my husband, who's a photographer, came and filmed me treating the smallest horse we had at our yard, who's a 12-2 Hackney pony, so she was light as well. And I was 8 months pregnant at the time, and filmed the whole of my treatment and sent that in as my exam, which I got finished. And then I wrote my dissertation while my son was between 0 and 6 months old, so that he slept a lot, so I had time.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest time. So like I'm in that 6-month period now where they are awake a whole lot more. And then also when they're awake, they don't want anything but your attention. So you're trying to send a message to someone on the phone and they're grabbing the phone, and that's where I am now. So the first 6 months was probably the best time to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And like you say, they then are like, oh, what's that? And what's this? And, my son found my pack of business cards the other day and just was posting them in the fridge and in the cupboard and, things like that.
So you were working as a vet nurse for a practice, and then obviously went on maternity leave. And now you've got quite an unusual job. But one that I'm quite excited to chat to you about is that you're actually managing their social media and marketing. So how did that come about?
So I actually started my own Instagram page, physio.rvn, doing sort of talking through my journey, becoming a vet rehabber and what I'd learned along the way. Because actually, when you qualify as a nurse, you get sort of like one lecture on physiotherapy. I kind of went, that's not enough. That's not enough. Considering how much I now know, it's just not enough for us to make difference to patients. So it was a way for me to share tips with other nurses and what they could do with their patients. And then when COVID hit, obviously I was pregnant, so I wasn't allowed to go into work. So I started doing telemedicine for them and doing Facebook Lives on, how to massage your dog at home and how to socialize your puppy at home and things. And then sort of when I went to come back, they went, actually, we really like what you're doing. Could you keep doing it? And I went, yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think for practices, when they've got somebody in the practice that knows social media, I think it's like gold for them, right? Because if I think about most vet nurses and most people in a practice, they know how to treat animals. That's what they spend their time doing. And, I'll often chat to people in practices and they'll be like, they have no idea where to start. So they just don't. And so there are a lot of practices that don't have a website, don't have social media handles. And so, finding you must have been absolute gold for them, because you also have an understanding. And I think that's one of the big problems is that, if you try and outsource it to a company, let's say that handles social media for small businesses, they just don't understand our field. And so they post things that are potentially inappropriate and just don't connect with the pet owner. Sometimes it's really just, like fluffy stuff. That's all they post. It's okay to post fluffy stuff every now and again, but they don't understand sometimes the things that we need to talk about and need to communicate are quite serious, right?
Yeah, and we want to use the platform to educate and engage. And my practice in particular, one of their core values is about giving value to their clients. So, whether that's more free education or answering more questions or showing them how to do things at home. So we've currently launched a whole range of how-to videos. So how to tablet your cat, how to cut your dog's nails, how all those things that they can do at home, but they might feel they don't have sort of the knowledge to do. So it's about adding that extra value and making it worthwhile. I mean, yeah, we have some cutesy stuff on there. Who doesn't love a box of puppies? But you want to have that informative stuff as well. But like you say, it's a balance. You want it to be fun, you want it to be educational, you want it to be cute, because if you do one thing all the time, it's just too boring.
Yeah, so we want to entertain them as well as educate them. And I think there's a lot of education that we need to give, especially as vet rehabbers. I mean, I think for pet owners out there, a lot of them don't know, that their dog's doing something that may be signs of pain. They just think maybe they're being naughty. There are loads of examples that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget, a client said to me once, and I could see this dog struggling to get up the stairs, and I said, "Oh, would you like a hand?" And she went, "Oh no, he's not painful because he doesn't scream." And I was thinking, but he's standing there going, "Oh, do I really have to?" And I'm thinking, you're not, because he doesn't vocalize it doesn't mean it's not there.
Breaks my heart. Those kind of things. Yeah. I mean, that's why it's important. So what you're doing is great. So what social media are you doing? So are you sort of focused more on Instagram for them, or are you doing a mixture?
So I actually do a mixture. I do LinkedIn, which is mostly career-based. So we're looking for recruiting and connecting with other professionals. So asking sort of bigger questions about, should we be doing this or should we be doing that? Or this is what we do, what do you do? To kind of engage with the profession. Then we do Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I do some TikTok videos of things like how to weigh your dog at home. So quite a lot, actually. I also do a lot of blog writing. So, different themes. So this month's Pet Dental Month. So we talk about teeth. So just connecting with them in a variety of ways that will provide them with education and value.
Yeah. So that must take up quite a bit of your time. So when do you have time to see your patients? Because you're also seeing horses mainly. That's what you focus on, right?
Yes. So at the minute, I'm mostly seeing horses. So what I decided was that I would come back and do social media part-time, and that I would use the other part of the week to do a side hustle, which is my own vet rehab business doing equine, because I want to do it because I love it. I don't want to lose the skills while I'm doing something else, and it's a nice way to build the business up without kind of throwing my all in and going, right, this is it, we're sink or swim. I either make money or I have no job. So it's a nice way to build it up.
So, I mean, is the reason for that just sort of obviously because of the uncertainty around COVID at the moment and, maybe just decreased income, but it also that little 16-month-old probably had a little bit of an influence there too?
Yes, I don't know what it's like over with you, but in the UK, you don't get a lot of help for paid childcare or for childcare, so you have to pay for all your childcare. So it's that balance of, can I earn enough to send him and make it worthwhile, and then I feel guilty that I might miss out because you don't want to miss any time with them while they're small. So it was trying to balance everything and get a bit of everything, really, because I didn't want to miss out every Thursday with my boy.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, we're quite lucky here in that we do have people that can help, but it also does cost. And I think most people here with mothers and the fathers would be working. And we also have quite a lot of creches, which are quite affordable too. So I think we're lucky in that regard. But I remember when I was in the UK, I remember it being really expensive for people. And then you got to, like you said, you got to weigh it up. Like, is it worth it for that, the money that you're earning on top of all the money that you're paying? And then you're also just missing out on all that important time with them. So yeah. And I mean, if I think back when I had my practice to my first child, who's now 10 years old, Hannah. Yeah. A very good name. Hers is spelled without an H at the end. So Hanna. But there were days when I had my vet rehab practice where, I mean, I would work very long hours and I wouldn't see her. So I would leave in the morning and she was asleep, and I would get back at night and she was asleep. And that broke my heart. And I said to my husband, that's not the mom that I want to be. I need to make a change. And so I did. I downscaled and just didn't have as long hours. So yeah, it's one of those things, and it's for a short period. So you've obviously got a plan now going forward. So what's the plan? How many years are you sort of planning to carry on with this? And you never know, maybe that's what you stay with. But yeah, what is the 5-year goal?
So yeah, I have a 5-year plan, and I listened to your lovely podcast all about goal settings and stuff, and it really made me think, like, whether you achieve it or not, it's something you're going towards, and I quite like that. So for me, we don't get a lot of help with childcare here until they're about 3. So for the next sort of year, I guess, I'll be doing what I'm doing, and then once they're 3, you get a certain number of free hours childcare, which means I can then extend my equine practice by a day or so extra a week, which will be great. So hopefully, just as he gets older, and then by the time he's in school, he'll be 4, because he's quite young in the year. So, and then I can go full time if I've got enough clients going on, which will be really exciting.
So how do you get clients at the moment? Where do they come from?
So I'm quite well known in the area as a horsey person. So we've had our stud farm for 45 years. I think my dad's lived there now. I do carriage driving at a national level, and just happen to know lots of people in the area. So actually word of mouth has been really quick for me. And I can pop up on Facebook and say, oh, I've got 2 appointment slots free on Friday. And within an hour, a lot of the time, I'll have a message going, could you come to me? Which is excellent. And actually that having my nursing social media handle beforehand and explaining how it all works and stuff has built up people waiting to see when I've got an appointment free, which is excellent. So it's lovely to have people going, oh, can you come here and do a CPD on our patients, or could you do this? Or so it's, although it was meant to be equine practice, I also do some CPD days as well.
So it helps to be a little bit Insta famous.
Yeah, just a little bit. And to be honest, I'm mostly famous for making fun of myself.
Yeah, I love your channel. So just remind everyone what your Instagram handle is in case they want to follow you.
Yeah, so it's at physioart.rvn.
Yeah.
You'll see me mostly dancing around my kitchen. But there's some animal stuff in there. There's some farm stuff in there. There's some nursing stuff in there. It's just have a good time, really.
Yeah. So having the experience that you have now with social media, do you have any advice to the other vet rehabbers, what they should do to increase their exposure on social media? One of the things at the moment is that the organic reach on Facebook definitely is decreased. Like, you have to pay to play now. So I think they say it's between 1% and 5%. So if you're getting 5%, you're doing really well. And interestingly, like if I look at our page, we often way over 5%. So, and I remember thinking that we weren't getting good reach, but we actually are. You really are. So what advice would you give vet rehabbers, especially if you think about most of them are time strapped, so they don't have a lot of time to sit and do exactly all the things that you're doing?
Believe it or not, so if you go on to my personal page and have a look, I laugh all the time, because I know so many people who are doing social media who think everything has to be perfect, everything has to be filmed for perfection, they have to post at a certain time, they have to do this at a certain time. I do none of that. I honestly, the most important thing is be authentic, be yourself. Everybody is unique, and they have something unique about them that people are drawn to. People are drawn to personalities, not pretty pictures. So if you've got an opinion or something to say, go out and say it. It doesn't, you can always take it back later, or if someone causes a fuss, you can sort of go, look, I'm sorry, that's it. But I think being yourself is just the most important thing.
I think you're right. And, I think one of the things, even with this podcast, is that I said from the beginning, I remember when I started this podcast in 2017, I had absolutely no idea how to edit. I remember just getting the podcast, and I downloaded something called, I think it was called GarageBand. And it took me ages to do it because I didn't know what I was doing. And I said to myself, I'm going to get this podcast out, and I'm not going to worry if it's not 100% perfect. And I must say that it's been so wonderful, and it's been so light, for me as I've carried on with all the years, because now when somebody says, oh, like this, my dog might bark or whatever, I just go, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. If it happens, it happens. Like, it's not perfect, this podcast. And so, yeah. And you just got to get it out there, right? Because if I hadn't have started and I thought let me wait until I either have a team member that can do this or whatever, it would have been years and years until I'd started it. And now it's been going for like 4 or 5 years, the podcast. You just got to get out there, just do it. So I love that advice. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be any specific time. Just be yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, one of my catchphrases that I picked up from, working around is, don't let perfect ruin good.
Yeah.
So in chasing perfect all the time, you're not always going to get something that's good, because you've essentially you've set yourself up to fail because you're thinking perfect, but actually good is just fine. And I think a lot of people are scared about putting a face to their handle, or it not being educational enough or funny enough or whatever, but people will turn up because they're interested in you and what you have to say and your opinion. So don't be afraid to just be yourself. I don't even brush my hair half the time.
Yeah, I must say, in the beginning, I used to also be very concerned about how I looked, and I'm with you on that. Otherwise I'm just like, let's just do it. You got it. And especially with video, I find it mainly with video. And nowadays video is what you need to create. So I mean, Instagram has changed now from a platform that used to be still pretty pictures to a video platform. I mean, they even announced it. So like Reels is the thing, right? And we at Onlinepethealth, we have been pushing back not creating the Reels, and for that very reason, like we have to edit it and it's just too much work. And at the beginning of the year now, I said to the team, guys, there's nothing we can do. We just got to start creating the Reels. And we're experimenting now and actually having loads of fun. So creating and entertaining ones, educational ones. And sometimes they're not perfect, but I just put them out there and then I see what happens. And what you'll see when you don't get your views and you don't get your reach, then they're not so great. Then you think, okay, I won't do any more of those. And then you do more of the ones that are actually working and you're getting that exposure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so like hit and miss. Sometimes you'll put something out there and it will be educational and you'll get loads of hits and loads of new followers. And then sometimes you'll do something funny and you'll get nothing. And then, it swings and roundabouts. But I think the important thing is just create content, just be there for people, show your face, because we love to know who's doing what. And if you have animals at home, people love to know what they're up to. The amount of time I sit there, and I think I particularly like a lady called Mrs. Hinch, who is all cleaning tips and stuff like that. And I sit there and I think, I've just watched a woman wash her bathroom sink, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
So, who knows what anyone will find entertaining. Just as long as you're true to yourself, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
no, for sure. So what about Facebook? So are you on Facebook quite a bit? Are you also finding this problem with not actually getting the exposure? Because it's something that I think is really important for vet rehab therapists, because if you don't have a lot of time and you're creating and spending all this time creating posts and nobody's actually seeing them, then what's the point? You'd rather spend that time networking or speaking to vets or popping in at a vet or picking up the phone and phoning a vet or writing a vet report. So the reason that I think this is a conversation that is really important is because it allows vet rehabbers to look and see what are they actually doing, and are they getting a return on investment for that time, which they don't have a lot of.
Yeah, so I'm gonna key you into 3 little secrets that I have.
Oh, I love that.
Share. Everything that I do for Instagram, I also use on Facebook. So okay. I have a link set up between Instagram and Facebook, which you can do really easily through Facebook, so that everything I post on Instagram goes straight on Facebook. Everything on my Instagram story goes on my Facebook story. So I'm only creating one lot of content, but it goes to 2 places. The second one is that I use a platform called Later, which is a planning platform. So I can take, say on one day's treatment, I take 20, 30 photos. I can then spread them across 20, 30 days without having to go on each day and plan a post. So I can spend an hour of an evening and have 30 posts done. And it does it automatically for me. And then my third one is just being GDPR aware. So in the UK, we have client protection, so sort of data protection for clients. So it's just making sure that all your clients have said, yes, you can use the photo of my horse, or you can use that. Just making sure that you've covered yourself that way. And other than that, it's quite easy.
So on your physio.rvn, are you getting clients for your equine practice, or is it mainly sort of educating generally? Or so do you try and attract clients specifically there?
So I don't necessarily try to attract clients specifically there, but it's sort of happened organically, which is really, really nice. So every now and then I'll get a message coming through saying, oh, have you got an appointment? Or, oh, I see you've got some appointments free. Could you know, you never know who knows anyone. So when I've got an appointment free, I put it out everywhere. And it's about joining your local equine groups. It's about joining your local town groups. It's about knowing who runs your local riding school or riding club. It's making all those important connections and just going, hey guys, I'm still here, just so you know. Yeah, exactly. And I also have quite a nice little niche, is that I do carriage driving, which is not a sort of run-of-the-mill equine sport. So I have a lot of people from carriage driving who want me to go and see their carriage driving horses, because I understand mechanically how they need to work and what they need to do. And it's kind of, I found a little niche that way.
Yeah, I love that. And I must say, I mean, my gut feeling is that they probably need quite a lot of treatments because they're working pretty hard.
Yeah, so weirdly, so looking at ridden horses compared to carriage driving horses, so carriage driving horses get really tight glutes and hamstrings because that's the pulling center. Compared to a lot of my ridden horses, they're more sore through their back and in the forehand, because of course they've got our weight on them, so they're pushing forward a little bit more. So it's interesting. I can now look at a horse and how it's built and its posture and go, right, I can tell that you run on the forehand and that you work behind properly and that you're weak in your core. And it, like, I love posture. I talk about posture all the time, but it's really important because that keys us into what this horse's issues are.
And tell me, do you find that the carriage people are quite attuned to like performance and optimizing performance? I mean, are they doing core strengthening exercises, and are they training them enough to be able to be strong for what they're actually doing?
Yeah, so the sport in itself is quite, I want to say quite young, really. But in recent years, we've taken a lot from ridden dressage, and people are more attuned to treating them like sport horses. So, we've got clients using hydrotherapy spas, we've got them doing timed cantering sessions and things like that to ensure that they've got the fitness there already. As well as people doing proper cool downs and cool downs in the carriage, cool downs out of the carriage, doing it in a leveled way so that it's not a shock to the system, to the horse, which I think is fantastic. And I think the understanding and work is there because people want the performance, because essentially we're expecting them to go like a dressage horse whilst pulling a carriage. Yeah. So that's a lot of strength.
A lot, yeah. Okay. Is there anything that, your perceptions of practicing as a vet rehabber when you sort of came into it that you thought, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but is it all exactly what you thought?
So as I was learning, I sort of went, oh my gosh, there's so much to this. Because initially I was kind of like, oh, massage is really cool. And, muscles are really cool. And then I learned all about the machinery and the science behind it and how much we've taken from human medical fields. And I just, what got me actually, what really scared me was the imposter syndrome. So on my first couple of clinic days, I was like, are these people going to think I'm rubbish? I felt like I couldn't ask them, yes, I'd like to see your horse again in 6 weeks, because I thought, well, how do I know? They might have thought, well, this woman's rubbish. And that was really, really hard for me. That struck me actually, I think, more as a vet rehabber than it did as a nurse, because as a nurse, I've got a whole veterinary team around me, whereas as a vet rehabber, I'm there on my own. Yeah. And the responsibility is mine. And I know we've got this amazing community, And I'm always happy to say I don't know to somebody, but I don't know. I suddenly got there and went, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm rubbish. I can't, you know, why would you want me? You need to get someone else.
Yeah, there's definitely that part of being on your own, you know, and I think about when I was a vet, it's a little bit like when, you know, when I first started, I was a vet in a big practice. And then at one stage I was running my own branch. And then everyone's looking up to you as the leader. And I remember also thinking like having the same things. And I mean, and then again, you know, even having qualified already for 6 years, then getting into vet rehab. So, I mean, I was a qualified vet. I had the same thing again when I qualified and when I did vet rehab. I was like, you know, and I remember getting some cases sometimes and just being completely overwhelmed and thinking like they're not gonna like trust me, or are they thinking that I don't know exactly what I'm doing, and like, do I know what I'm doing? Is there somebody better that could be treating this dog than me? And then I would just say like, excuse me, I'm just going to go to the toilet or go heat up a beanbag, and then I'd quickly run into my office and get the textbook and just double check, and I'll be like, okay, yes, I do know what I'm doing. Like I do, it's fine. Like, you know, so yeah, and I think that's so real for all of us. Like, I mean, virtually every vet rehabber that I speak to at some stage has had imposter syndrome. And I think it is, especially when you go out on your own. Is that better for you now, or do you still struggle with it?
It is getting better now. And actually, the more I'm getting feedback from clients that, you know, the horse feels really good, or that they've done the exercises and it's working really well, or they can see a difference, it's feeding my confidence. And what I'm very aware of is being confident, but not egotistic.
Yeah.
So not thinking, yeah, I can fix anything, but equally thinking I could help, and I have the tools, and I know. So it's a really careful balance for me, because I want to be the best, and I've always been competitive with myself and wanting to be better and getting it done. And, you know, I've prided myself at getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get extra work done. But it's one of those things that you kind of go, right, it's getting there, and I do know what I'm talking about. And also going, it's fine to say to the client, I don't know, I'm going to go back and check and I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's great when you get to that level of confidence where you can say that. And I, as you're saying that, I also think like when you lecture, there's also a level of confidence where you get to where you also can say, that's a really good question. I'm going to find out for you. I don't know the answer. Or you ask somebody in your audience, say, do you maybe know the answer to that? And, you know, I remember also beginning when I was lecturing, also just being so scared that I asked me something that I don't know. But it's okay. Like you said, it's okay. So it's great to get to that level where you're just like, it's all right not to know. And if you just be honest and say you'll find out the answer, the client's happy. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I think that it's the kind of thing where people don't often talk about it openly, right? That they lack confidence, or they doubt themselves. It's the kind of thing that you just keep inside, and it eats away at you a little bit.
And, you know, you think the minute that diploma lands in your hands that you should know everything. But ultimately, if someone who'd been qualified for 10 years turned around and went, oh, I don't know, I'll check, you kind of go, okay, that's fine. So why do you expect it of yourself?
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, I always look at like confidence, and I think that there are two main things, and there might be more, but for me, for myself personally, there were two things that helped me with my confidence. So the one was experience, and the other one was knowledge. And so when I had a case which I wasn't experienced with, the one that I hadn't seen, and maybe I didn't have that much knowledge in, then obviously that's when I really lacked confidence. And experience comes with time. So you can't fast track that. But I do think you can fast track knowledge. So, and that's why I started Onlinepethealth, is so that you can get the knowledge that you need. Because if you have that knowledge behind you, then it really gives you it helps with your confidence. So if you can say like, you can back it up by science or whatever you're doing. So you say like, I know that there's a research article that says this. And so you're doing it and it's okay. And you can also then say to the vet that referred to you, or you can say to the client, well, we don't really know, but there is some research. This is what is come, and this is what people are doing, and this is what we're finding. Back it up with some knowledge. I think it really does help. So I don't know, maybe you can add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. The other thing I would say is create yourself a support network. So find a tribe. So I'm really lucky. I've got some good friends who are equine vets. I've got Wendy, who's my physio mentor. So I have a support system in place where if I turn around and go, oh my God, I have no idea what to do with this patient, I have a load of people who can kind of go, well, there's a paper on this, or there's that, or, have you tried this? I did this before and it worked really well. And I think finding your tribe of professionals who can help you are so important. And get a buddy, get a mentor, even if it's another student. I mean, I've got a handful of student friends, and we every now and then go, it is this, right? And that's really helpful because your 5 brains are better than one.
Yeah. So Vet Rehabbers out there, we have some Facebook groups. I don't know if you're a member of our Facebook groups. We've got the Swanwell Vet Rehabbers, Hydro Vet Rehabbers, Business Vet Rehabbers, and Equine Vet Rehabbers. So there's a group of international, so it's a global group of people that they are also there to support you. So if you don't have any friends and colleagues close by, you can always post in the groups. And we also actually have a mentor program that we have. So you can check out the pin post in there. Yeah, so if there's a pin post there, and it's actually coming up now for renewal. You can just subscribe to the mentor post, and we look for mentors in your area and try and link you up with people in the vet rehab field. So there's loads of support for you guys out there. Please, I never want you guys to feel alone.
And that's all we need. We need support. Hashtag tribe.
Exactly. Or vet rehabbers, vet rehab team. That's what we need. Yeah, all of us together. Hannah, thank you so much. It's been awesome chatting to you, and I will be following you on Instagram and watching all your really, really fun reels. They make me laugh. So guys, if you haven't had a check out, please go and check out, it's physio.rvn is Hannah's Instagram handle. Go and follow her. So hoping you get lots of followers from this podcast.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome, Hannah. Have a great day. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. And please, if you get a moment, head over to Stitcher or iTunes and leave me a review. It's a really lonely job being a podcaster, and so the only time I get to hear from you or know that you're out there is when I get a review. And know that I read every single one of your reviews. So to those of you that have left reviews, I want to say a very, very big thank you. Every time we get a review, it really helps to get the veterinary rehabilitation podcast out there to all the vet rehabbers all over the world. All right, vet rehabbers, so if you are looking for more continuing education in the field of veterinary rehabilitation, head over to onlinepethealth.com. Go be awesome, guys.